Game 35 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, and honestly, it's kind of like a dark and gloomy feeling around this game right now. It feels like we're heading into Craig Berube's last game behind the bench of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And regardless of what you think of Craig Berube and the job he's done here, it's sad to see the situation that the Maple Leafs are in, and the fact that we're probably at a point here where another man is going to lose his job. But that's the reality of the situation. Heading into Dallas on the second night of a back-to-back after a piss-poor performance against the Nashville Predators last night in Nashville, the Maple Leafs, it seems like we're staring down the barrel of it right now. Heading into Dallas against a really good team, traveling, back-to-back, lineup changes, whatever you want to look at, it doesn't seem positive for the Maple Leafs. We're going to keep this one short and simple for a few reasons. One, last night after the game against the Nashville Predators, right here on this channel, Leafs Nation 401, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We broke down the entire game, what's happening with the lineup, the whole season, how things have played out, where the state of the Toronto Maple Leafs are at. As well, for today's game, one, they're traveling, so we're not going to get a morning skate that's going to give us any type of information like we usually get when it comes to line combos and who's going with who. And the other reason would be Craig Berube kind of threw out there after last night's game when he was asked about the lineup, the fact that, yeah, there will probably be changes. You know, he's got a lot of forwards. There's a lot of bodies in and out. We'll see what happens today. That, to me, makes my job really hard, and I know that I have a very easy job, and I get to come here and talk about Maple Leafs hockey, and it is a dream, but in the grand scheme of things, when you do a game preview for each game, and the coach leaves it up to that, and then you don't get a morning skate, it makes it a little difficult for me to go through the lines and say, here's what we'll see tonight. So, what we will do is look at Daily Faceoff, just go a quick run through lines 1 to 4, the defensive pairings, and I'll throw out some thoughts on what I think about potential lineup changes for today, not what I think should happen, just maybe kind of guessing or throwing out my thoughts and opinions about who could come in, who could change, and who I don't think should be taken out of this lineup. If you guys are watching, drop in the comments below what your thoughts are for tonight. I think all collectively we're going to be playing some type of guessing game when it comes to the Maple Leafs lineup. Today's game preview, as always, is a presentation of Bet365. I'm Zach Phillips. Let's head over to Daily Faceoff and see what we've got from last night and what might change for today. So, first of all, first line, Knies, Matthews, Cowan. That's kind of where we finished last night. And your second line, Maccelli, Tavares, and Nylander. One thing I would change here is swap Cowan and Maccelli. I think Maccelli needs to stay in your lineup. If Craig Berube takes Matias Maccelli out of this lineup ahead of this game, Brad Treliving should just walk down there after getting the lineup card and just tell Berube, no need to go behind the bench tonight. You're out. I'm going to actually play Matias Maccelli, and you are going to go home and get on a plane back to Toronto or wherever it is that you'd like to go, because you will not be coaching the team tonight. Matias Maccelli looked good. And if you're going to pin this effort and that performance and those results on anybody last night, it ain't Matias Maccelli. I liked what he brought. I liked the approach to the game. I liked his skill. I have no issue with Matias Maccelli, and in fact, I would like to see him get an opportunity to stay in the lineup here tonight. Easton Cowan, I also like what he brings. I just would rather see Easton Cowan playing with the Tavares Nylander line, where he seemed to have success earlier on. Rather than putting him onto that first line and kind of forcing him to have to deal with whatever's going on with Auston Matthews and Matthew Knies right now. We heard from Nick Robertson on the postgame show last night. I don't even know if this is breaking news or not, but he talked about it on the postgame last night. He's been dealing with a lower body injury, and that would all seem to make sense. When you look at Knies, you look at his play, and you look at where it was last year versus what it is this year, the whole Matthew Knies situation, it makes sense when you say lower body injury he's battling through, because he doesn't look as explosive. He doesn't look as fast. He looks behind on a step behind on some plays. And, you know, this is a guy that we on this channel have basically all fallen in love with here, and what he brings and how he plays and the style of play that he has. I think rightfully so we've fallen in love with the player, but you can be honest and critical about the way he's played right now. It's not been good enough. And when Nick throws out there, hey, Matthew Knies is probably dealing with a lower body injury here right now, or kind of confirms that, it all makes sense. And, you know, you give the kid credit for battling through this and just being the warrior that he is for playing, but yeah, it lines up. The production hasn't been there. That step, that pop that he has in his game, it's not there right now. And the injury seems to make sense. I would rather keep Cowan off of that, go to the second line, and then give Maccelli the opportunity to go to the first line and be the playmaker with Auston Matthews. If this guy is a playmaker merchant and he's not a guy who can drive a line, first of all, he shouldn't be making $13.25 million, Auston Matthews. But if he is, then give him the guy who can make plays, and that's Matias Maccelli right now. I think Easton Cowan brings a lot more to the game when it comes to energy, intensity-wise, willing to battle, willing to retrieve pucks. So put him on that second line. Matias Maccelli doesn't do it quite the same, and I know I just talked about Knies being a step off, but he's the guy who can do that. He's the guy who can go in on the forecheck. He's the guy who can retrieve pucks and win corner battles and then get in the cycle game. Maccelli will be the playmaker. I'd rather him go with Matthews. Your third line, Robertson, Woll, McMann. This is where I just start to not even know what to make of the lineup. I liked Dakota Joshua, Nick Roy, and Bobby McMann playing together. I did. It gets broken up. Like most things here with this team this season. And actually even in seasons past when Sheldon Keefe was here. If you want my opinion, I think what I would do is put together some combination of Dakota Joshua, Nick Roy, and Nick Robertson. Not really because I think that that's like the chemistry line that works and whatever, but Bobby McMann has not been playing very well. I don't think McMann has been playing at the level that he needs to be, and like we saw him playing at for points of last season, where he can be a really impactful player. So move the guy to the fourth line, because Dakota Joshua, to me, has been. Now, if the idea here is that your fourth line is really your third line, and you're playing Dakota Joshua and Scott Laughton together, that's fine, but I wouldn't put Calle Järnkrok with those guys. I would maybe look to somebody else to put them in there. This is where it just gets confusing, where it's like, I think some combination of Dakota Joshua, Nick Roy, and Nick Robertson might be interesting because Nick Robertson battles his bag off. Dakota Joshua has been doing the same. I think Nick Roy is a responsible, mature player. We saw that he scored that goal last night to open the game last night. Like I like those pieces going together. I don't mind that at all. And then it's going to your fourth line. Do you bring Max Domi back in? I don't know that you do. I don't think he's done too much positively here to impact that. But, I mean, this is, again, the combination and the conversation where if you're going to deploy your fourth line as a third line, I would like to see Dakota Joshua, Scott Laughton, and Nick Robertson go there, and then they play your 10, 12 minutes kind of guys, 13, 14 maybe even if you start to rely upon them more, and then your line of Nick Roy and Bobby McMann, and I don't know if you want to put Calle Järnkrok or Max Domi, they go on your fourth line, and they play 8 to 10. That's kind of how I would look at things a little bit more and start to piece pieces together. Now, Craig Berube said we might experience some lineup changes here tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if Max Domi does slide back into this lineup and does take out Calle Järnkrok. I can't see a reason why that anybody like Joshua, Laughton, Roy, Robertson, or anybody in your top six for that matter would come out. It would come down to Bobby McMann or Calle Järnkrok to me. And if either of those guys did come out, I mean, I'm not going to throw a fit over it, but I just don't see a need right now to put Max Domi back in. Maybe Berube just thinks he's going to get a spark out of him. Fair enough. But outside of that, I don't really see a reason for him to jump back. Those are your forward lines for tonight. Again, drop in the comments below what you think about today's lineup and who should come in, who should come out, and who you'd want to see play with who. Maybe that's the best thing to do. Drop in your lineup for tonight. Not projected, but who do you want to see play together lines 1 through 4? That's what I want to see. 1 through 4, who do you want to see play together? Give me your best lineup for tonight's game in the comments below. Down to your defensive pairings, which we'll not spend a lot of time on, but Philippe Myers, Morgan Rielly is what's still currently listed. Jake McCabe, Troy Stetcher, Ekman-Larsson, Simone Benoit. Philippe Myers, get out of the lineup. This guy should not be playing. I'm not saying that from last night being atrocious or anything, but like Myers, I don't want to see playing in the Maple Leafs lineup. I'd rather see Thrun in there, and so maybe it's Benoit who comes out. Maybe it's Morgan Rielly who's got to fucking come out at this point, but I'd rather see Thrun go into this Maple Leafs lineup than some of these guys right now. OEL, Stetcher, McCabe, they've got to be there. They've been good. OEL's being your best defenseman, Jake McCabe and Troy Stetcher, your best pairings right now. But I have no reason why Thrun should have come out after the last few games that he played. I thought he looked fine. He wasn't a problem necessarily. I thought he was one of the guys who looked mobile. He had some bite to him. Why does he have to come out? Why does Philippe Myers have to go in? I'm taking Myers out of this lineup. I'm starting there. Morgan Rielly, another terrible performance from him last night, and then just gets absolutely dog-walked on the Evangelista goal and just put through the fucking spin cycle inside out. And that's just a isolated incident of what Morgan Rielly's defensive career has looked like throughout his time in the NHL, and specifically here, obviously, over the last little while with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was a frustrating moment to watch, knowing that most of this fan base has been demanding taking his ice time away, taking power play opportunities away, knowing how poor he's played defensively over the last bit, and then watching that take place was just another nail in the coffin when it came to Morgan Rielly's time as a Toronto Maple Leaf. Those are your defensive pairings for tonight's game. On the second night of a back-to-back after Woll played last night, I'm going to imagine that Dennis Hildeby would play. Again, if Woll goes tonight, that's just malpractice by the coaching staff to put him in on a back-to-back. I see no reason for that being the case. I think Dennis Hildeby goes. And then Jake Oettinger confirmed on the other side for the Dallas Stars. So those are your lineups, your goaltenders, and your defense for tonight's game. Let's get to our best bet. Our best bet is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION. That's NATION. Code NATION. NATION. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Best bets last night did not do so well, or best bet, I should say. We lost to Nick Robertson anytime goal, plus 550. We had a half unit on that one, so that brings our total on the season to minus 6.3 units. It's been atrocious. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it. It's been awful. I think a lot of this has to do with the Maple Leafs not being very good and being very hard to predict. Hard to predict lines, who's playing with whose minutes are going to go up and down, and who's ready and who's injured and who's sick. It's been a gong show of a betting season, but maybe as the team just becomes predictably awful, we can predict bets a little bit better. So I'll go with some stuff that I knew from the other day, and let's jump on over to our odds for tonight's game. Maple Leafs plus 175, the Dallas Stars minus 210. Heavy underdogs for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and deservingly so. If you look at the puck line there, minus 1.5 for Dallas, plus 120, plus 1.5 for the Maple Leafs, minus 140. And then you look at the total, 6, minus 105 to the under, minus 115 to the over. This is a first time this season and a rare moment for this, but I actually do have a bet on a side or a total. We're going to go Dallas Stars puck line, minus 1.5, plus 120. Half unit on this will profit you $60. That's our first bet of the day. So half unit, minus 1.5, plus 120 for the Dallas Stars puck line for tonight. That would mean the Dallas Stars have to win by 2 or more goals. I think that this is honestly a pretty good bet here tonight. The Maple Leafs are awful. They're on the second night of a back-to-back. You'd think that there would be some type of response and jump and pushback from this group in years past. In this season, I don't think so. I don't think they have it. I don't think that they care. I don't think that they have the energy, the intensity, the excitement, none of it. You look at the game against Chicago, you'd think that they would do it there after the poor performance against Edmonton. They don't do it against Chicago. You look at the game against Washington, you'd think that they do it there after the poor performances against Edmonton and Chicago, and they don't do it against Washington. And then after that, you'd think they'd do it on Saturday after the poor performances in the 3 prior games, and they don't do it on Saturday. So why the fuck would they do it against Dallas here tonight? Seriously. If Dallas is the worst team in the NHL, like you just played Nashville last night, or the best team in the NHL, which they're not far off of in the Colorado Avalanche, the Dallas Stars are actually one of the 3 best teams in the fucking NHL right now, why would the Toronto Maple Leafs show up tonight? I have no interest in backing them. I have no interest in betting on them. I have no interest in supporting them. So bet number 1 is the Dallas Stars minus 1.5. They're an unbelievable team. They're sitting there ready to take advantage of the Toronto Maple Leafs and just steamroll them here tonight. I think Dallas wins this one, and I think Dallas wins this one big. I think this is the last game for Craig Berube, and I think Dallas just walks out there, rolls over the Maple Leafs, and everybody goes home embarrassed as Leafs fans. Maybe not embarrassed if you're the guys on the ice because they don't seem to play that way. But Dallas minus 1.5 plus 120. Player props for tonight. I got 2. One is a Maple Leaf, but I think you'll get why, and if you don't, I understand, and you can push back. But Nick Robertson, no goals in his last 5. We're going to go plus 500, $10. A tenth of a unit on Nicky Bobby anytime goal. This will profit us $50 on the night. It's a battle against his brother. You imagine his parents are there. Everybody's going to be excited from the Robertson family. I actually think the kid's been playing well. I think Nick Robertson's looked really good. He looks hungry. He battles hard. Like, I think Nick Robertson is going to show up tonight and have himself a game. He's looked pretty good over the last couple. I'm going to bet on him to score, but we're going to keep it tiny. $10 will profit you $50. And then our final bet, we're going to scroll down. We bet on this the other day. We're going to continue this. We're going to try it again. We're going to go to the blocked shots tab, and we're going to go Jake McCabe over 2.5 shots on goal. That's also 3+ shots on goal at plus 130. A half unit on Jake McCabe will profit you here tonight $65. Half unit will profit $65 at plus 130. That is our third best bet. So to recap, Dallas minus 1.5 plus 120. $50 on that one will profit you $60. Nick Robertson, anytime goal, plus 500, sorry. $10, a tenth of a unit, will profit you $50 on that one. And then our final one, Jake McCabe, blocked shots, 3+ at plus 130. Half unit will profit you $65. Just some logic behind this one. I think the Maple Leafs get shelled. I think they're slow. They're behind the game. They probably take penalties. Dallas will have to go to the power play. I think Dallas kicks the shit out of them at 5-on-5. It's just going to mean Jake McCabe's going to play a lot of minutes. He's going to be in front of a lot of pucks, and he's going to have to block a lot of shots. So I'm going to go Jake McCabe over 2.5 or 3+ blocked shots in tonight's game. So those are your best bets. If you like this, if you enjoyed it, hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel, Leafs Nation 401, right here on YouTube. I will be back following tonight's game against the Dallas Stars to break down everything that happened in this game, as well as looking ahead to the future as we head closer and closer to the holidays. What happens with this team, coaching staff, players, management, all of it and more right here on this channel. So like and subscribe. We'll see you guys tonight for another edition of Leafs Nation After Dark following the game against the Dallas Stars. Until then, try every way you can. Find it somewhere deep within you to keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.